people don't know about that they should?
Well, I think there are two things that Coastal Carolina does that nobody else in the nation does. The first is we don't have any rules. Literally, there are no rules. We have a standard. We call it "Bam, be a man." Now, it's not a tough macho guy. I raised my girls on that standard, but I have all male, so therefore, be a man kind of work. And what that means is a real man, a real woman, a real leader stands on their own 2 feet. They take responsibility for themselves. They always treat others with dignity and respect, and you're going to live with the consequences of your actions. Many of us, especially as we get players that have been high school stars, they tend to have a subconscious sense of entitlement. Now, no rules, but that's the standard. So when you come to our place, that's what we build a program on. It's also the way I built, it was also my philosophy my first time around as a coach. My philosophy in the business world, both at Merrill Lynch and at Ameritrade, it's a standard we have. Everything we build our program around. That's number one. Number two, every coach in the nation realizes that part of our job is to lay a foundation upon which we're going to build, our guys are going to build their lives later on. Now, we got 9, not counting this year because we don't know what's going to happen. Last year, we had 9 guys playing professional football, 9. We also had 41 guys that were doing graduate work while they're playing for us. There's not a program in the nation that can say anything that comes close to that. So if you're good enough to get to the league, we'll get you to the league. But it's still about laying a foundation upon which you're going to live your life later. Now, what do we do as coaches that reinforce that, other than say that? Everybody's got help and support on campus. What we do that nobody in the nation does, we give up 30 minutes of practice a week. I'm going to repeat that. We give up 30 minutes of practice every week. We have a team meeting. Most of the time I run it, but not always. And we talk about stuff that's got literally nothing to do with football. We'll talk about terrorism. We'll talk about political elections. This is something I'm very proud of. 116 years of college football. The only program in the history of college football whose entire team voted last November 2016 for the President of the United States was Coastal Carolina. These are the types of things that we do that are unique and have a positive impact on our guys when they're here. But that's also the principles that would separate us from others with regard to recruiting.
Coach, just wanted your thoughts on our early season matchup against the Raging Cajuns. What do you think about traveling to play against them in September?
Well, we're excited. It's going to be my first trip there. When I was actually on the staff in Nebraska, we played them. So I've got a lot of respect for the coaching staff and what they do and what they have done and what they're going to do. And we know that's going to be a challenge for us. One of the biggest competitive disadvantage we're going to have this year, we're only going to have 70 scholarships. So everybody we play has 15 scholarships more than we do. That's going to have a significant impact on our depth and our special teams. But we got to be able to handle that as coaches. But I'm excited. I'm excited to go there and be there and to compete in that game.
Coach, you touched on a little bit. When so many programs are trying to steer away from politics and leave that out of the game, why are you turning into that? Why are you embracing that so much?
Everybody acts like football is like life. Football is not like life. Football is a game. That's an important game, and we don't win, I'm going to get fired. But it's a game. It's a game. At the end of the day, there are so many things going on in the world. It's not just a matter of politics, but there are so many things going on that I would want my children to know. I want my players to know. And if I feel so strongly about that, why wouldn't I spend real time making sure our guys know that? So, biggest single threat in the globe today is terrorism. We have to live in the greatest country in the world. Hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people with unlimited funding will not hesitate to give up their lives because they would want to kill us because they think what we do is evil. We don't think that's something that your football players should absolutely know. My guys know what ISIS stands for. I bet you forget student athletes, I bet you 90% of students in the nation don't know what ISIS stands for. You protect ourselves through the military. Average age of our guys 20 years old. There are plenty of people 20 years old putting their lives on the line so we can play football, so we can live in freedom. With those freedoms come responsibility. You go right back to BAM. If that's so critical, you all can only pray that our political and military leaders have the guts to do what they believe is the right thing, even if they're not going to get reelected, even if they're not going to get promoted. Well, what role do we have in that? Oh, we have no say. We do have a say. I almost said something there. We do have a say. We live in a democracy. We got the right to vote. It's not a matter of being political. It's understanding what's going on in the world that matters, that's going to have an impact on your life and your family's life down the road. So it's not, by the way, it's not just about football. It's not just about science class. It's not just about math class. It's not just about a language class. It's about what's going on in the world that's going to have major impact on you and your family down the road. It's our job, especially with my background, I believe it's our job to be able to make sure our guys understand that. That's why we do that. Thank you.
Any more questions for Coach?
You mentioned the staff had full autonomy last season. What was some of the biggest transitions coming back into that and taking some responsibility back?
I think we've always taken tremendous pride. It's kind of part of our brand. We don't make a lot of mistakes. We normally don't hurt ourselves. We normally, like previous 3 years, probably special teams won 10 games. Last year, special teams probably lost 3 games. We're usually one of the best teams in the country for the fewest penalties. Last year, one of the teams in the country for most penalties. We've always been a decent tackling team. Last year, we had like a gazillion missed tackles. It's focusing on why you're making a mistake. Making mistakes and solving a problem is not unique to football. And a lot of things that go on in football programs are not unique to football. Recruiting, other than evaluating the players, got nothing to do with football. It's about marketing, it's about sales, it's about logistics, it's about processes. Most skill sets for those things are far better recognized outside of football, and we can learn from that. Same thing in terms of understanding how you fix a problem. NASA has to go through, our space program has to go through 1,350,000 steps that they have to get everyone right. They got to be perfect to get a rocket launch with somebody in it so it doesn't blow up. 1,350,000 that they got to get right. Every coach in the country says when you lose a game, the biggest reason for losing a game is because you make mistakes. We got 11 guys that got to get it right for 5 or 6 seconds. Learning how to fix mistakes is not unique to football. In fact, there are ways to be able to learn those and go through the processes that are, frankly, more evident outside of football. So they're the things, at least, that we do, we try to look at that are totally different than maybe what other programs do. You got anything tough for me? You got tough questions?
Coach, do you, after letting your staff kind of run things themselves last year, do you have more faith in them this year? Are they able to kind of handle things a little more than maybe they were a couple years ago?
I've always had faith in them. I was a little disappointed with what happened last year, but what happened last year is over with. I'm not concerned about that at all. I am a world-class delegator. So the most important thing I've got to do is hire the right people. And if I don't have the right people, then I got to make a tough decision on them. But when I bring you in, it's with the understanding that we've got that other program we called, we give up practice, it's called LAF, Life After Football, and BAM. You got to buy into BAM, you got to buy into LAF, and you got to recognize we are going to do things differently than you've probably done them before in your football career. But as long as you buy into that, that's all I care about. Then it's your job to get your stuff done as best you can. And then wherever I see maybe you're kind of going down the wrong path, I'll do what I can to be able to help and contribute that. But if I have the wrong guys as coaches, then I got to make a tough decision. I have the right guys as coaches, and I have total confidence that they're going to do the right things. Or work as hard as they can to make the best decisions they can. And at the end of the day, it's about how they affect their players anyway. Anybody else? Okay, the question I was asked, but talk a little bit about the defensive side of the ball. Last year we gave up 34 points a game. We got a new defensive coordinator. The new defensive coordinator is Marvin Sanders. I worked with him in Nebraska. He and I have worked together for 3 years. Frankly, I think I'm honored to be able to have him as defensive coordinator and Jamie Chadwell as my offensive coordinator, associate head coach. Marvin is a bright guy. He knows defense. His background is in the secondary. I like defensive coordinators that understand the back end going forward rather than, frankly, the front end going backward, but that part's irrelevant. He understands teaching. He understands in coaching, it is not about coaches are charismatic. They do a good job at teaching. It's got nothing to do with teaching. It's what your players learn. There are 3 ways we all learn: visual, auditory, kinesthetic. So all of our guys take that test. So every one of our staff, every one of our players take the test so we know how they learn. Marvin understands that. So if he's working with one of the guys in the secondary and he's looking at film and he's talking about what's going on in the film, but one of his guys is a kinesthetic learner, he learns by touching, feeling, doing. The question the guy should ask, the player should ask, Coach, do me a favor, go over that again, but instead of showing me on film and talking me through it, allow me to take the steps, show me to take the steps. Marvin brings those types of things. He understands how to handle problems. He understands it's not about teaching, it's about learning. And he's a great role model, I think, to the staff, and I think he's a great role model for our players. Yes.
Coach, you lose a lot of experience going into this season as well, and since it is sort of restarting with you as a head coach, realistically, what are your goals for this season and for the team? It's a tough division. Do you expect to have a chance to win it, and if so, I mean, what's your basis for it?
I know this sounds a little bit hokey, but the reality is this is what I've said every year that I've coached. There's not goals per se. The goal is how do we maximize a staff. We can't control necessarily we're going to win a game because we can't control the other team. But what we can control is whether or not we're able to maximize our potential. We are obsessed and fanatical about that and the elimination of mistakes. So if we do that, I would expect us to be able to do relatively well during the span of the season. So the focus is on whether or not we're maximizing our potential and achieving that. It's not about whether you could win a game and not have lived up to your potential. And you could lose a game and have done a job that nobody else in the country could have done better than. That's what we're trying to achieve. And I would expect us, even though we have the 15 scholarship disadvantage, I'd still expect us to be competitive. Now, what's going to happen, I don't know. But I know we're going to be committed to the idea of maximizing your potential and flawless type of execution. And at the end of the day, our real mission is to put a team on the field that Coastal Carolina is proud of. So it's not just winning games. It's how you behave, how you handle yourself, all those things. That's part of that.
The commissioner was talking a lot about the financial growth of this conference with its new deal with ESPN, new championship game. How do you assess this conference and how it's grown?
I think the commissioner in the last 7 years, I believe he's been here 7 years, I think Commissioner Benson has done an incredible job. The whole idea that the Sun Belt rising, being able to go to the next level. Last year we played 5 bowl games. We were 4-1. That's as good as anybody else in the country, I think. I think we had 5 teams want to go in a bowl game. It's something we're proud of. You look at where, you just take a look at the size and the stature of the Sun Belt a few years ago with where it is to now. It has risen significantly. It's going to continue to rise. I'm proud that Coastal Carolina is part of the Sun Belt.
Every game is difficult. But as you look at your schedule for this season, what's going to be the toughest game for you in your second year, Coach?
I think an uneducated observer would take a look and say we open up against South Carolina. South Carolina might be, but the reality is that's not the way we think. And we've got some really, really good teams in our league that I think are going to be every bit as competitive as anybody else that we might play. But as I said before, when we're getting ready for a game, we cannot control who the other team is. We can learn what they do. We can understand mismatches. We can understand what we need to stop and what we need to attack and how we might be able to adjust our special teams accordingly. But the only thing we can do is try to maximize our potential and have flawless execution. So when we go into a game, I mean, we know if a player's good. We know if a team's good. The record will tell us that. But it's just not the way we think. You get away from your focus. You get away from your priorities when you spend too much time talking about that. So my answer is I'm looking at the whole schedule to be pretty competitive. I know the league's going to be competitive. I know South Carolina's going to be competitive. I can't worry about any of that. Thank you, everybody. Oh, that's yours.
Good job.
Thank you. Thanks.
We just want to keep updated in the world and not get behind.
Well, y'all all just got on a bus and went to a booth?
Yeah, he did. He took us all on a bus and he took us to the voting tables. Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, I guess one more is just like how much of a difference is it with him back?
I think he just brings a lot of energy. Last year with a new guy coming in, the guys weren't used to him. They didn't know what to expect, and it was very abrupt. So guys had to learn how to get comfortable with the new guy so quickly. So I think with him coming back, it's definitely the spark that the team needed. They trust him. They believe in everything that he says. So I think it definitely changes the whole charisma of the team.
Appreciate it.
Perfect. Thank you. I'm actually lived in Little Rock, Arkansas most of my life. My brother went to Arkansas. Everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where are you from? I mean, did you go to high school there? Or?
No, but I went to Pulaski Heights and stuff for middle school. Yeah, and
Gotcha.
everything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I live over in Riverdale.
Riverdale?
To the Arkansas River.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
That's awesome. Yeah. Good deal, man. Did you go to Arkansas?
No, I went to
No?
Texas.
Texas?
Yeah.
It's a good choice.
I'm a transplant, so I moved
Okay.
to Houston.
There you go. Awesome. Well, good deal, man. Nice meeting you.
Yes.
How's it going?
Mike, nice to meet you.
Killing. Nice
I
to meet
think
you.
I'm about to ask you some of the same stuff he
Perfect.
did.
Same.
So, Coach is kind of talking about, y'all asking him to talk about the politics and going to vote and everything. so many programs nowadays are trying to get politics out of the sport. And,
Right.
I mean, at every level, not just college, but everyone kind of wants to just keep it separate. What's it like to be in a program where it's the opposite? It's being embraced.
Well, I wouldn't say that. He's big into politics with us. He just wants to inform us with the most current news and stuff, so that we can make our own decisions and create our own beliefs and stuff of what we take from what he teaches us. And he just wants us to be ready for the real world. He knows that a lot of stuff that's going on is going to affect us as soon as we graduate. So he wants us to just be as well informed as we possibly can, so we can make the best decisions for ourselves.
So why'd y'all ask him to? He said y'all asked him to come talk to y'all about the nuclear crisis with North Korea and some of the other things. Like,
Right. Just kids. He's really open. So he tells people to come into his office. Bring up topics that he would like. For him to discuss, and that was just one of the things that I guess someone was curious about, and he covered it, and he just covered the size of the nuclear bombs that are probably being made today, and it's mind-boggling. So it's scary stuff.
What's it like to play for a guy? I mean, just from the press conference, he's not like any coach I've ever spoken to. I mean, what's it like to play for a guy with that level of energy, with that wide of a scope of his kind of background?
It's awesome. I didn't, with Jamie Chadwell coming in last year, and me being a transfer, I didn't get to play with him while he was coaching before he took his medical sabbatical. So I'm very excited this year. He brings a big spark to the team that I think is greatly needed. He's high energy, and he's a guy that you don't want to let down. You trust in him, you believe in him, and he believes in you, and you just don't want to let that slip away. You want to do everything in your power to, please him.
How was the news of that sabbatical kind of broken to y'all? Was it, were you expecting it? Was there any kind of lead up to it?
There was a little bit. I won't go too in depth about the whole ordeal, but he kept us in the loop the entire time, and he's not going to just drop a bomb on us at any point in time. He kept us informed, kept us in the loop, and always let us know what his plans were.
So it wasn't like he just showed up one day and he's like, "Hey, I'm going to be gone."
No, he's not that kind of guy. So he always let us know and made sure he knew that he loved us, and everyone trusted him that he's going to fill that spot with the best coach that he could possibly find.
Was it tough the first kind of month or so? Just you expect him to be there, you expect him to be your leader.
Right. It was tough. It was such a sporadic change for guys that it was hard just to hop in and trust a new guy, including from a coach from a opposing school that was a big opponent for Coastal. So it took some time for guys to be able to trust him, but I think once the ball started to get rolling and the guys started believing in each other and in the coaching staff, people didn't skip a beat. But it's good to have him back, that's for sure.
Thanks so much.
Perfect. Thank you. Thanks.
Hi there, Bob.
How's it
How are
going?
you? Call
Killing.
Reddit.
Nice to meet you.
Good to meet you. You kind of were.
You hit on with that. Hit that one on. No problem.
Microphone. Hey, stick a microphone in front of him and I'll send you it. That's been no trick.
You took a break, went to JUCO. I know you were injured during that
Right,
year, but,
yep.
but then you decided to come and play for him. So what sold you on coming to Coastal Carolina?
A guy who can be that successful in the business world and in the athletic world, it's a rarity. There's not anyone else that's doing it like that, and you want to play for someone like that because he's been on both sides of the spectrum, and when you get to learn from someone like that, I think it could definitely place you into the world with a head start, and that's the most exciting thing.
What was his pitch like to you? Did he pitch you, or did he just say, "Look, I'll play"? I
Hey, come here.
I can't even imagine what his would be like. It would be.
He just was the same guy that he always is, the high energy, charismatic guy, and he's just one of those people that when he talks to you, he makes you buy in. You trust him, you believe in him, and that's a rare trait to have.
obviously being a football player is like full-time job. But when you do get a chance to relax, what do you like to do?
We're in Myrtle Beach, so anytime that we can make our way to the beach, it's always a good time. But most of the time, we're too tired after our workouts in the morning. I like to go home and sit in a dark room and play Fortnite.
Fortnite.
Yeah.
Oh, another Fortnite.
It
Awesome.
is. It's trending right now, and I can't
yeah.
help myself.
Oh, yeah. No,
Yeah.
I do 4 media days
Yeah.
in 2 weeks. And
Yeah.
This is the third one. I can't tell you how many players play Fortnite.
Oh, it's unreal.
Oh yeah.
I play-
One guy said I don't play Fortnite. I played a few times, and then his teammates like, "This gonna suck, man." I heard in the background. I'm like, "All right, Justice, help."
It's true.
Anyways.
It takes talent.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that's hard to conquer.
Excellent. Well, good luck to you.
I really appreciate it.
I grew up in Bakersfield, so I know. I can
Oh, yeah.
the beach is a little
Okay.
bit more relaxing.
It's a little bit better than the valley.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not 100.
But I miss Yosemite and being close to all
That's
the mountains
true.
and
See,
stuff.
Bakersfield
That
was even close to that. So it was
yeah,
like,
yeah. You're more close to Vegas
yeah.
than anything.
Well, because you grew up in Washington, correct?
I grew up in Florida, Washington.
Oh, okay.
I grew
So you
up
went to
everywhere.
Skyline.
Yep, I went to Skyline my senior year. Yes,
Awesome.
sir.
Well, cool.
Yeah.
Take
Well,
care.
good deal. Yeah, you too.
It's about your time.
Good. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it.
You guys have like 15 minutes just hang out.
Now joined by South Alabama's Bull Barge. Now, this is your first Media Day appearance for the Sun Belt, right? So how is Media Day going for you?
It's pretty sweet. Just seeing all these people that actually care about our conference and us as guys and players. It's just, I like it. I'm happy to be here, thankful to be here.
Final season for you, going into your senior year. What's it been like for you in the 3 years past, and obviously going into this year under new leadership with Coach Campbell?
Well, the 3 years, it's been pretty good. Been a lot of ups and downs. Played a lot, didn't play a lot. But when you fight through things and you have determination and you have guys that have your back, it's easy to get out of slumps and be the best player that you can be at all times. And with Coach Campbell coming in and the new staff, our new DC Coach Stewart, I love him. Like, he could be my father already. We just met each other not too long ago. And but it's nice though. Like, new coaches, they come in, they're players coaches, they love us, and they just want the best out of us.
What does it mean when they come in like that and you kind of hit it off right away? Kind of looking to the season, that's got to mean a lot.
I feel like it's very special. Like, especially when the young guys come in and they're already on board as well because they like the way we move. So you see, it can be really special when everybody is on the same page. And I feel like we're on the same page. We're headed to the same page if we're not there yet. And so it's going to be a very special year.
And going into this season, you've got some pretty big shoes to probably fill or take over a little bit, whichever way you want to look at it. Jeremy Reeves was a staple for you guys in years past. So what does it mean for you to kind of know that you're kind of that leader and going to maybe probably take his role a little bit?
Well, Jeremy is an outstanding player. It'll always be hard in my eyes to take over what Jeremy's done. But as a ball player, ball players make ball plays, big-time plays when their number's called. And I feel like with my senior year coming up, my number's probably going to be called a lot, and I'm ready for the challenge. Jeremy we still talk a lot now, even though he's on his new journey. And he called me before I came down, and he was just saying good luck. He was like, he know I'm ready. We played, 3 years together. It felt like way more. But it's big losing a guy like that, but we have so many guys ready to step up, and I'm ready to lead them that way so we can be the best we can be.
That's good to hear. And, If you had to challenge Jeremy to one thing in his upcoming seasons and stuff, what would that be? What do you want to see from him?
I would like him to beat me in tackles in the NFL. I want him to have more tackles than I have in college.
All right, challenge hopefully accepted. We'll see. Final question for you, an off-the-field topic. You've got quite the name, and that's something that people love is interesting names in the Sun Belt. Bull's not your first name. Dithamius, is that correct? So where did Bull come from, though?
Well, when I was 7 years old, I played pee-wee ball. And, like, from the first day out there, I liked it to hit. I liked to hit. So it was like the second practice, I hit one of the kids really hard. And like their parents came out, they was mad at my mom for letting me play because they just felt like I was too big or something. And then one of the coaches was just like, you have a little bulldozer right there. And it just stuck with me. First they called me bulldozer. And it was like one day, one guy was just like, I'm going to call you Bull. And it just stuck. Everyone just started calling me Bull. And the more and more I played football, the more and more that name just stuck with me.
Well, you heard it here first. Bull Barge, Bulldozer. That's what I'm going to call you. I'm going to call you Bulldozer. Well, I appreciate your time today, and best of luck to you and the Jaguars this season.
Thank you.
Morning. Good morning. Just excited again to be here this Sunbelt Media Day, and really excited to get the season started. I think for us, it's been a long off season, and really this Media Day kind of kicks off the start for us coaches to get back in the office and get going again. Obviously, our guys have been working out all summer and put a lot of great work and effort and time into that. And so now, we're ready to get this thing going. Start practice, start preparing for Penn State. That's our first game. And then getting ready to get in this league and start competing for another championship for us. We're coming off of 3 straight bowl wins and 2 conference championships. But now kind of in a new era for us with a new quarterback. We've been a luxury to have the same starting quarterback for 4 seasons, and now this will be the first year with Zach Thomas being our quarterback, and then also new defensive coordinator this year. Brian Brown will be our defensive coordinator, and so really those 2 things are kind of been the news for us in our program, this off season. But again, we have a good nucleus back and ready to get going this year.
What defense is the coordinator looking to install?
We're doing the same defense we've been doing. It's 3-4 defense. When Nate Woody came in 5 or 6 years ago, whenever he got there, we installed this defense. So we've been running it, for the last 6 years, and so Nate left, Coach Sloan, our secondary coach, left, but everybody else is back. So they've all the assistant coaches have been accustomed to this defense, and so it'll be the same.
Hey Scott, Adam Hunsucker with the Monroe News Star. When you look at the kind of success that not only your program's had, but you look at Arkansas State, you look at Troy, and then you kind of look at hiring practices the past few cycles. Y'all are still here in the Sun Belt and haven't moved up to the Power 5 yet. Do you think there's a stigma attached to Sun Belt coaches for you guys aren't getting looks for other jobs?
I have no idea. It's a good question. I think all we can do as coaches is to do the best we can do, try to win as many games as you can win. If there's suitors or others out there that think you're doing a good job to come talk to you, then that's up to them. I think for us, all we can do is the best job we possibly can do. And for guys like myself that has played at a school like Appalachian State and have been coaching here for a long time, I'm in a good spot. So that's the positives. And so you just keep doing the best job you can possibly do, and then who knows what the future is going to hold. And this business, we were just talking about it earlier, how, I haven't been here very long in the Sun Belt, but I may be the elder statesman in the Sun Belt, as far as football coaches go. But, you're only as good as your last game or your last season. So you better keep winning, the way the landscape of college football is. you don't ever take it for granted. And so for me, in my position here at App State, we're just going to try to continue to do the best job we can do and try to win football games, and whatever happens after that.
Coach, how you don't return as much talent this year, and how important it is to find someone to replace Taylor Lamb?
Well, I think we have just as much talent back this year. Maybe not well known as far as the name recognition, but I think we do have a ton of talent coming back. It's extremely important to find a quarterback. I think you can look at the NFL all the way to Pee Wee. If you don't have a quarterback, you're going to have a hard time winning football games. So for us, we feel like we're in good shape with Zach. And then there's a couple other guys right on his heels that are really good as well. Zach, to me, he's got a stronger arm. He can run better than Taylor. He's got a lot of intangibles that are better than Taylor. The one intangible he doesn't have, though, is game experience. He has not really played very much. And the way Taylor could control a game, I think that was, he was a coach on the field. I mean, that part of it is going to be a little bit different. To me, as a quarterback, obviously it's about how you handle adversity. Every quarterback's going to face adversity. You're going to have some bad plays. You can maybe turn the ball over, get in a bad play, but how do you come back from that? And I think that's going to be the big question mark for Zach. How will he bounce back when he does have a bad play? And but there's so much talent around Zach. You look at Jalen Moore, running back. We have some talented wide receivers, 3 starters back on the offensive line, a tight end that was preseason all Sun Belt. So, we have some talent around him that I think where he doesn't have to do everything himself. He can let the game come to him and utilize his other players.
Coach, so you mentioned playing Penn State. You're getting ready for that, and you've hosted Miami and Wake Forest the last couple of years. Is there a different type of preparation going into Power 5 games versus Sun Belt and other games?
No, you're going to get ready for the game just like you get ready for any game. We the same preparation. Throughout a season, it doesn't matter when you play whoever you're playing. You're going to set your schedule out 6 days in advance, and then work your plan. So it doesn't matter who you're playing against. Last year we opened up with Georgia, same kind of deal. It just so happens that we've been playing some of these schools that are really good at the time we play them. Penn State's no different. They'll be a top 10 team. Coach Franklin's done an outstanding job with that. But we'll get ready the same way we always get ready to prepare for a game.
Coach, Carl was talking about a lot of different things in his remarks earlier today. When you hear that, what's your first reaction as far as where this league is right now?
Well, I think the league has continued, since my time being in the league, has continued to grow. I think it all starts with the coaches that are in the league. I think we've hired some outstanding coaches throughout the whole league, and then that filters down through the players. And I think what we've been able to do against peer conferences in the non-conference games and in the bowl games kind of speaks for itself. What we've been able to do the last 4 years, particularly in the bowls in the postseason, our schools have been very competitive and won a lot of football games. So I think that's what you got to look at. And we kind of changed the narrative to maybe 5 to 10 years ago what this conference was like, to now where we're very competitive and whoever we're playing. You look and see what Neil Brown did with Troy last year when they beat LSU. Those kind of wins continue to elevate our league. And I think that it's going to continue to happen. I think this league from top to bottom will be as competitive as it's ever been. And I think that's just going to generate more wins when you're playing these non-conference games with these peer opponents.
Coach, just actually on the topic of Troy, how big of a deal is it that you get to host them in Boone towards the end of the season?
Well, it's always big, when you're able to play in front of our fans at our stadium. To me, it's a tremendous home field advantage. Teams having to come to Boone, and we have a tremendous fan support. Our students line up at the gate and sprint in 2 hours prior to kickoff. You have a great alumni that comes back and supports our team, and we're led the conference in attendance the last couple of years. It's a great atmosphere. So anytime you can play in Boone is tremendous advantage for us. And to be able to play Troy at home the later in the season, I think probably helps us a little bit as well, because maybe get some a little bit cooler weather, hopefully. But we played Louisiana last year, the last game, and it was close to 60 degrees. So that was in December. So you never know. You may get some good weather, but we can't control that. But I think anytime we can play at home, obviously we think we get an advantage in that.
And Coach, over here, and part of that growth with the league and its new deal with ESPN, putting namely the Tuesday night game between you guys and Arkansas State, one of the bigger games in your schedule, just What are your thoughts on how that worked out to that night, and how the deal kind of organized around that with the league?
Well, I mean, anytime we can play on national television, I think is great for our conference. It's great for our school if your schools are playing on those type of venues. I don't particularly like playing midweek games, but I do realize the fact that if you are playing midweek games, you are getting in front of the nation to be able to watch that game. So people that want to watch college football, they have an opportunity to do that. And so for us to be able to play there, it's great for our school. And so Ark State, we haven't played in a couple of years. The way the things have worked out, and this year, we're back playing those guys. So we're excited about playing them. Of course, they've been one of the better teams in this league over the years, and just a tough game for us because we have to go there, midweek game. So that's going to be a little bit tougher, but we're excited about it. I mean, I think that'll be one of the better games this year in our conference. Well, I mean, we don't really care when we play. I mean, whatever night of the week we play. The thing that's more difficult for coaches and players and the student athletes is when you have to play in a 5-day turnaround. That's the difficult thing. So we're playing Georgia Southern this year on a Thursday night after we just played on Saturday. So you got to get on a bus on Wednesday and drive down, towards Statesboro. That's the hardest thing when you have a quick turnaround like that of 5 days. But when you're playing on a Tuesday, but you get to open before and after, then that's not as difficult. But I think for us, if we can get on national TV, it doesn't matter when that will be. Just get on national TV and to put our brand out there, Arkansas State, and then of course the Sun Belt brand out there. And I think that'll be a good showcase of our conference.
Any more questions, Coach?
Coach Ron Snyder, News 15. What do you think of the matchup with the Raging Cajuns this season? Obviously, you beat them up pretty good last season, so just having the challenge of having to face them again and having them remember that.
Well, no, I think it'll be a good matchup. New coaching staff, so that'll be a lot of different things that'll be about their program now. And when you play at the time we're going to be playing them, you're already going to be able to see a little bit about what their team's going to be about. The good thing is they have to come back to Boone again this year, so that's good for us. But I think in this league, all these games are tough. You have to be prepared to play, or you'll lose the game, and they'll be no different. They have a lot of talent on their team. They have tremendous size. They always have the type of players that can produce wins, and so we'll obviously have to be ready to go when they come to Boone this year. That it? Thanks, guys.
Hopefully everything go plan. I'm putting in my grind. Hopefully everything plays out. But going into the season, I just want to win. I just want these guys I came in with. We're very passionate about everything, and we've been talking about it since our redshirt year. 4.5 years later, we're here. Build a school. Put outstaters on the rise, and we came a long way since when we first got here.
Do you feel like the program is better now?
Oh yeah, most definitely. We're on the rise every year.
Take
We
a
felt
lot of
like.
pride in that? Like that you're a part of that.
Oh yes, sir.
System?
Yes, sir. We talk about it all the time. Class of 14 that came in, we like, man, we really put in a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. But I mean, if you look up, the banners prove it. We've got some conference championships and bowl games in there, so it's a great feeling.
I know you guys got Penn State. Is that the game this year? That you got circled or what?
Every game. We're trying to go undefeated. So we're not overlooking anybody. If you look at last season Texas State, we kind of was looking ahead, you know what I'm saying? So we can't do that. And as a senior, of trying to lead this little vocal leader thing we got going on now, I'm more in a position to where I can tell, people now, like, look, we can't go like last season, so we're just trying to build that, take every game serious. Obviously Penn State is the biggest game on our schedule, so we know that. Everybody knows that.
On Saturday, when you guys are getting ready for the game in the morning, I mean, you're just in the locker room.
Yeah.
Who's the guy that gets the most hype? Is it you?
That guy over there.
Guy?
Marquand Stout.
How? How does he get, what does he do how does he get everybody else hype?
He crazy in a way. Like, okay, I'm going to give y'all a story time. This was when in the beginning of the season last year, we started off rough. We didn't have a vocal leader, as I said, so we know that's a key point coming into the season. So we had a couple games, we started out rough, and nobody would speak up. Nobody would talk. We just saying the same old, are y'all ready today type, like we can't go out here and lose. The same old, the same old speech. So I think it was like third, fourth game of the season. We come in, this is the night before the game. It's a Friday night at a hotel. Quan stands up, tells everybody to get out, all the coaches, we need a minute. So I'm like, what he about to say? And I done seen him, so I roomed with him for 2 years. So I done seen every side of him. So I'm already knowing like what kind of speech this about to be. So first thing he do, like we got like a laptop computer set up to where we watching the games and everything that's going on Fridays. He slams the computer top, starts ripping the cords out of it, grabs the chair, throw it against the wall, and we got this big, expensive speaker that we use. He barely missed the speaker. So the guy who the equipment manager and everything, he comes in and Quan, like telling him like don't ruin everything and all that. He get out. So like he real passionate about it, and ever since then we started winning. So we needed that energy and all that. I mean, he didn't have to take it that far, but we got the point. We got the point.
What about you? I mean, are you a guy?
Sales is it's something different. At first I was never a big talker and nothing like that, but it's kind of got me out of my comfort zone. Just kind of being uncomfortable, just talking on the phone to people, trying to sell stuff. Just something I'm kind of interested in now for my career.
Speaking of, obviously, hopefully you have a very long playing career.
Yes, sir.
So once that wraps up, do you know what you'd like to do?
I've been thinking a lot. One of the things I would like to do is go back to school, be a GA, and then eventually be a college coach, defensive line. Or if not, I kind of want to own something, just having my name on something and give back to my community. So something putting back into the community.
Where'd you grow up?
Salisbury, North Carolina. It's a little small town near Charlotte.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Good luck this season.
Thank you, appreciate that.
You guys play Charlotte too.
Yes, sir.
How big of a deal is that going to be?
Oh, that's gonna be big. I'm probably only like 30 minutes away from UNC Charlotte.
Yeah.
So I have a lot of fans there. One of my homeboys just texted me this past week and saying tickets are $100.
Wow, really?
Yeah, so they up in the because they already like sold out and they actually putting more seats than what they usually do for this game.
So many App State alumni.
Yeah, there's so many App State alumni and our fans. We have some of the best fans. They travel. Like our fans will travel. They wouldn't mind traveling to UNC Charlotte. And then we got a lot of Charlotte boys. Me, I'm 30 minutes away. JJ is about 35, 40 minutes away. We got Clifton Duck. Just a lot of people in that area that just have hundreds of people. Yeah. Yeah. Just a lot of talent there at App State, man.
Good luck, man.
Yes, sir. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
How you doing, man?
Doing great. My name is Ryan. I work for the Georgia Southern School Paper.
Okay.
So I'm probably going to ask you some centric, I mean, it won't even be anything bad, but so y'all basically just destroyed us the last couple of years and owned us. I think your coach has a 4-1 record against Georgia Southern.
Yeah.
How do y'all keep beating it? Like, how do you maintain?
We just maintaining yes, it's Georgia Southern, but we look at any other game, man. Just come out there to win a game and compete. Yeah, we got like a big tradition versus them or big atmosphere just because, we were FCS when they were FCS and we moved up to the FBS together, the Sun Belt together. So it's been an ongoing thing, like just before I've been there, just years from the older guys. So it's a big hate week is what we call it and stuff like that. So it's a very competitive week for us.
Okay, so you still consider it a rivalry game?
Yeah. It's been a rivalry game just because, we was in the SoCon together and just moving up to the Sun Belt together. It's a team that was one of our closest, but now that Coastal Carolina will be one of our closest games, I feel like that actually might change up a little bit.
Okay, cool. So defensive lineman, how hard is it to stop the offense, the option? How do you stop it?
Just a lot of film. Like, we have great coaches that study the film. They put us in the right spot. We got great coaches that give us the right call for us the ability to make plays. The reason that we're 4-1 versus them, stopping the offense, that triple option. A lot of people struggle with that triple option. So, we have great coaches that just put us in the right spot to be successful.
Great. So, you all play Penn State this week, or this year. What's the coolest place you played? What's your favorite place so far?
Oh, probably be Clemson was nice. Tennessee would probably be my most memorable just because I started, that was my first career start.
You almost won that one.
Yeah, so,
Overtime?
yeah. No.
Where was
It was overtime, but we lost by a point, I want to say. But that was my first career start, and just to start my season, my career here at App State. But it's just the atmosphere there. I still remember when they scored, and I was just like, oh my gosh, 100,000 people. Like, it was pretty good.
That's crazy. What was it like hosting Miami and Wake Forest?
You know, it was pretty good. App State fans, you know, we packed it out. We actually broke the record. First it was Miami, it was 34,000, and then I want to say we ended up having 35,000 for the Wake Forest. So it was just good having those Power 5 teams and competing versus them. You know, Wake Forest game, I feel like we should have won. So just great having those schools come actually visit to play us.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for your time.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
To play for a championship.
Yeah,
MVP belt.
it's a great feeling, great feeling. Just every conference championship, you know, was a great feeling, but it's something different about this. You know, it's actually like a true two of the best going at it. So I want it all. I want the champion. I want the championship trophy. I want the MVP. You know, we want it all. But I feel like it's a great idea, and the Sun Belt is rising, and you know everything is just getting better. And I'm glad they're giving us the opportunity to go head to head against each other.
It's got to be probably a little extra exciting this season.
Yeah.
Because you have the chance to say we were the first.
Yeah. It's real. Everything's just it's overwhelming right now because you know this is my last year and we're talking about it, and you know it's just everything came so fast. You know, but everything's exciting. We working hard still. Same thing. You know, same thing, different year.
Well, and in your case, it's a little limited by system, but you're
Yeah.
sort of your first season to be like featured back and get
Yeah.
season in that role.
Definitely. You know, as if you been following up on me on my other interviews, like I've never really actually been that guy. You know what I'm saying? So, like you said, it is different and it's exciting, and I can't wait to actually be that person that, you know, the team can rely on and actually be that one guy, you know, that leader, and, you know, everything. The younger guys look up to me now. You know, I usually just look up to somebody. So now the roles have switched, and I can't wait. I'm looking forward to it.
So let me round this out. I gotta ask you the same questions I asked you.
Yeah.
Your roommates.
All right.
So who's a better player?
Me. Stronger, faster,
Better looking.
better looking. He over there looking at me right now. He know what I'm talking about. He probably cook better than me only because he can grill. I don't really grill like that. But
He said your kitchen skills are.
man, nah. I'm great. I'm great at everything. I can cook breakfast. I'm the best at unhealthy food. So that's why I don't even like to really cook too much around the boys. Yeah. So when I go home, that's when I do. When I'm by myself in my hometown, that's when I do all my cooking. Really. Me. He just added a little something to his repertoire because he crossed, you know, a fraternity, so he probably can hop better than me and stuff like that. But dancing skills, like all that, that's me.
Let's go more specific on them. So it's pregame.
Yeah.
You're at your locker. You
Uh-huh.
got your headphones on.
Mhm.
What's bumping to get you going? Particular song or?
Now I can tell you what's gonna be bumping now is Drake. He just came out with the new album. I can't wait to put it on
Is
it.
it gonna be like a hotline full of like the In My Feelings?
Hey, it might be. I might be dancing in the locker room to the In My Feelings challenge. You never know. But yeah. It's a lot of good music out right now though, so I don't even really know. I'm just go through all of them and see which one get me right.
I appreciate it.
All right, thank you.
Thanks so much.
All right, cool.
We're gonna take a picture with Coach.
Okay.
I'm joined by Josh Moon, senior safety from the Georgia Southern Eagles, and this is your first appearance at Media Day, is that right? So are you having some fun? What's going on for you?
It's a good experience. You know, New Orleans is a great city. When it comes to interviews and stuff, I kind of had to mature into this because I kind of struggled with it coming up, but I'm enjoying myself.
Good. That's great. Well, we're glad to have you. But before we jump into this season, I do want to kind of talk a little bit about last season. We won't talk about it much, but, you know, at the end of the season last year, it was the defense that shined for you guys. And normally people know Georgia Southern for their offense. So for you as an individual on the defensive side of the ball, what did that mean to kind of bring up the intensity and the energy back at the end of the season?
I feel like it's always good for the defense to get some recognition because sometimes we lack that. But it's a great feeling, you know, knowing that we did everything we could. It didn't turn out how we wanted it to, but it's kind of good to get some type of recognition and so we can have some type of pride about ourselves.
Defensively for you guys this year, you're moving to the 3-4 instead of the 4-3. What's that transition been like kind of for you in the offseason to kind of learn the new plays that are potentially going to be in there and stuff like that?
It's an interesting process learning the playbook. All of us always open to learn, you know, with the 3-4, Coach Sloan, he brings in a good plan, good plays.
What's one of your favorite things about the 3-4, do you think?
I guess I'll say I kind of like the idea of the 4 linebackers. I feel like that gives us, we can do more things on the defensive side.
And obviously Coach Lunsford was named full-time head coach after being interim last year. What's the transition been like with him kind of going from that interim role to now he's, you know, he's the head one in charge. You gotta listen to him.
I love the fact that Coach Lunsford got the head coaching job. You know, he's been there for the last few years. He knows us. He knows all the players since the first day we touched on campus. And he knows the tradition well at Georgia Southern. I feel like that's good for a head coach coming in.
You're not the first person to tell me today how important it is to have that coach kind of come in right then and there and be able to connect with the players. So what has that meant for you and others, especially maybe the freshmen coming in, to be able to get on the same page that quickly with a head coach?
I feel like that's important because it doesn't take as long for us to be on the same page. We already know what to expect from him, and he knows what he's going to get out of us. So I feel like that's real good.
And I could ask this almost to everybody in the Sun Belt Conference, but I grew up part of my life in Southeast Georgia near Statesboro, so I know the fan base that the Eagles bring in. So I want you to take this moment to talk about the fan base that Georgia Southern has and how important they are and what they bring to Paulson Stadium every Saturday.
At Georgia Southern, we're all a big family, and I feel like the fans are a big part of our winning tradition. They bring a lot of energy to Paulson Stadium, and they keep us going, and whatever happens, win or lose, they always got our back.
And unofficially, I just told you that we kind of have a best dressed contest here. And last year, I awarded Wesley Fields a pretty good, I think he actually won it. He had the orange blazer. I really liked that. He's dressed well today, so I kind of want to bring him up on stage. He's ignoring us. We want to show him off, but we also want to show you off. We may not, I don't know if we're going to be able to do this, but you've got some swanky blue shoes. So right now, I'm officially saying Georgia Southern is the best dressed team. So take it with you the rest of the day. And then is there a potential way to get a shot of these shoes somehow? Maybe not. We'll see. Check them out. Looking good. So I think with that kind of swag, y'all are in for a big season. So guys, thanks for joining me. Thanks for having a little bit of fun, and enjoy the rest of your day. Now joined by Coastal Carolina's Anthony Chesley. Now, super excited to have you with us. You know, this is only Coastal Carolina's second time at Media Day. So what's it been like for you so far?
Oh, it's been an experience. New Orleans is this is my first time coming to New Orleans. So this whole idea of media, cameras, lights, everything is new. So I'm embracing every minute of it.
Embracing it. Are you having a lot of fun? Are you having a lot of interviews? Kind of what have you done so far today?
Today I got up, came here. I had a delicious breakfast. Came here, and then this has been interview after interviews. I'm enjoying myself. I am.
Good. Before we get into football, you and I were just talking about actually, the academic side of things. Student athlete is most important. You graduated actually last summer, and now you've been getting your master's degree and will graduate in December. So kind of walk us through your academic path and how you got to the point that you graduated early, and then you'll be out in the real world in December.
Yeah, well, so when I initially got into college, I majored in exercise science, and I was like, oh, this is going to be a good degree. It's exercise. And then then all of a sudden science hit, and I was like, oh no, too much science for me. So I changed my degree to public health, and I basically took every class, never dropped a class, studied hard, graduated in 3 years, and then decided to pursue my master's degree, and I'll be done with that in December in a year. So I'm excited. A lot of hard work.
After graduation, then what's the plan?
NFL. If that doesn't work out, then I would like to become like a youth development director. Anything that I do, I want to involve kids. I want to change lives. So.
And speaking of the NFL and getting ready for football season, what excites you most about this upcoming year?
What excites me is the team. It's our first game. We have South Carolina. That's a great way to kick off a wonderful season. The odds are stacked against us, so we have the opportunity to prove to shock the world.
And for Coastal Carolina, this will be your second year completely with a Sun Belt football schedule. What was that competition like last year? Was it any different than in years past? Was the level of intensity brought up a little bit?
Yeah, intensity was definitely increased as opposed to the Big South. But other than that, I would also say the environment is a little bit more hostile. Some of our opponents, they have very hostile environments, but it's an experience that I would never forget.
And when you look at the records from last year and the stats for you, you've become a leader more and more each game on the defensive side of the ball. What would you say is a strength of the Chanticleer defense that you've seen?
So our chemistry, we have a new defensive coordinator, so we're all buying into his philosophy, his defense, and every day we're working from details to communication to everything. We're working, so it's exciting.
You mentioned intensity and opening the season at South Carolina. Well, you end the season with a potential chance to play in the first ever Sun Belt football championship game on December 1st.
Yep.
Now that that's into play, how does that kind of raise the stakes for you guys and raise the intensity even more?
Well, anytime guys get the opportunity to showcase their talent on the big stage, it's a pleasure. So we are more than excited to do that, and hopefully we'll get there.
And lastly, I haven't done this with anybody else yet, but this is your opportunity to kind of rag on your other teammate that's here. What can you tell us about Gilton Anderson?
What do you want to know?
I don't know. What do we not know about him? He's not standing around. I don't see him at the moment.
Well,
what's he looking like? What's he dressed? Is he dressed well? Is he dressed
yeah,
well as
so
you
I was,
are? Like.
So what I was about to say. So it's Shark Week, right?
Okay.
We go to school, Myrtle Beach. He has a tie that it's a teal tie, but it also has sharks on it. So coincidentally, Ball at the Beach, Shark Week, everything came into place. So I thought that his outfit, smooth. He's a smooth guy, but the tie with the sharks, I thought was very funny.
So what you're saying is, when I find him, I should potentially throw him into the pool of best dressed.
Yes.
Okay, we'll
yes.
see. I'll be the judge of that.
Yes.
So we'll see. Well, Anthony, I appreciate you taking the time to have a little bit of fun, relax a little bit, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
And best of luck this season as
well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We will be back shortly after a nice lunch break. I know you guys got to eat, so stay tuned for more from Sunbelt Media Day Live.